guess what? The top 4 nations in the world that have the highest amount of gold reserve, not one of them have raw gold, like a raw material. The irony is that the first top 5 nations that have, the highest number of gold reserve, none of them is even an African country. Yet the bulk of it is produced. How many of us ever saw that? It's an old movie. You ever saw that movie, Blood Diamond? Do you understand? If you watch that movie, you see the politics being played behind. You now realize that some of the drama and some of the wars that we experience in Africa is not natural disaster. It's not God that is sponsoring it. There are evil people, there are evil forces all over. But like I said earlier on, our this conference is not aimed at complaining about those things. It's to find the gaps that exist. Are we together? It's to talk about, the ways that we can take advantages of the opportunities that it presents us and see how we can move our lives forward. So I was talking about agriculture, for example. One of the major, apart from, of course, security, the other forces that you can talk about, even for the things that we are able to cultivate, the bulk of the times, we sell it as raw materials. Nothing ever really gets to processed form and then the value gone round within us. You already have, I think it was last year, I'm about to talk about storage, for example, and that's one of those gaps. So somebody can wake up and decide, I'm going into the agricultural space. Do you understand? And in the agricultural space, I'm not thinking about buying a hoe. I'm not even thinking about getting a plot of land. That's none of my business. But when they ask me, what do you do? Agriculture. And yes, such a position actually does exist. I remember last year, I went to Orange Market and I bought, what's it called? A basket of tomatoes. I honestly don't remember exactly how much it was. I got it, maybe, I think I got it for around 15,000, 17,000. This was last year, right? The following day, the same basket of tomato had dropped to less than 7,000. Why? Because it rained the previous day and a lot of the tomato was beaten by rain. So it was either they were going to sell it off at whatever price, or they had the risk of losing their entire money. Do you understand? So because we do not have adequate storage facilities, money is being lost consistently to those are leakages that exist within that space. How about somebody comes up with, and just say, okay, and I just use tomato as an example, but it exists almost with any and every other crop that we produce around our region. I'm talking about northern Nigeria, for example. How about somebody comes up with storage facilities where you're able to, buy, store, and then resell, or just even charge a token for providing storage facilities that farmers can come and store their goods, and they do not have to, come under that pressure of just selling at whatever price because they want to cut their losses. Does that make sense? There are quite a number of farmers. Okay, obviously I can't really get into my notes properly, so I'll just. But is this helping anybody?
What's up?
The other thing I was going to talk about, one of those opportunities that exist is tech and innovation, tech, finance, and all that. As it relates to tech, again, I said to you earlier on that my bias is towards agriculture, so I'm going to talk about tech as it relates to agriculture. You find out that there are many people who do not, let me say it in Hausa, they have the kwazo to farm, but they don't have the market. But you went to school, you have a degree, you can speak English, you know how to put proposals together, you have access to the internet. Those are opportunities that you have that you can leverage upon. Find markets. Do you understand? Hello?
Yes, sir.
You can find markets. For example, look at Jumia. I'm sure you know that Jumia does not sell everything that is on their platform. Do you think that you can have a platform where local farmers can be able to sell through, your product? Sorry, through your platform. And somebody say, but they don't have internet. Then you can provide it. You say, but they don't know how to operate the system. Then you can learn how, you can operate the system for them. I mean, back in the days, some of the things that, I heard Egbon say this year, during the last time he was here, during KBC, in the strategy session. When we were in school, some of the things that you guys now do from your phone, Egbon, do you realize that we didn't have smartphones when we were in school? We had Java, and then towards when we were graduating, Symbian phones came. Some of the things that you guys now do very easily on your phones, then everyone were doing at Manufa Cafe for people, and then 100 naira, 50 naira, 200 naira, they were getting, they never went hungry, quote and unquote. Do you understand? Because they found a gap and then found how to provide solution. And basically when you talk about finance and money, that's how money is made. Money flows in exchange for value. So it means that you can come up with ideas or innovations where you're able to go meet these people in those rural communities and sell your service to them. As long as just know whatever industry it is, as long as you're bringing value to the table, there will be people who are willing to part away with their money in exchange for that value. Sometimes the value might even be very common, but because people are not exposed to it, years ago I heard Fela Dote say something that caught my attention. It says, whether by hook or by crook, you make money off people's ignorance.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand? Yes, whether by hook or by crook, you make money off people's ignorance. So, are we stable now, secondly? Okay, so let me have my first slide. I'll just run through it and then see how I can function within the time that I have left. Alright, so that's my topic. Already existing opportunities in Africa. Let me have the next. Okay. Don't worry. Exploring Africa's untapped potential. And I was talking about that's some of the things that I've been talking about, saying that there are plenty gaps that exist. All of these gaps, they are opportunities for us. And I should be able to get in there talking about tourism. So, but I'd start with agriculture. So let me have the next slides. Agriculture and food production. I'd said that earlier on, with over 60% of the world's unused. Yes, initially I said 60% of Africa's land is left unused. Actually, that's of the arable land in the entire world reside on the continent of Africa. Do you understand? Anyways, let me just say it in passing. But during KBC, one of those nights, suddenly Ghana stuck up strongly in my spirit. And this time around, it wasn't even ministry, it wasn't church, it was agriculture. Do you understand? I'm saying that to say, if you just read, a lot of times, this is one of the things that I've noticed with most of us around this place, we have not deliberately exposed our minds to the possibilities that reside around us. Everybody, I don't have a problem with going to Canada. I don't have a problem with going to UK. Do you understand? But if you are putting your brain to work, you will find that some African countries are more enticing to go to than to go to Canada and to go to the UK. Like I said, I do not have a problem with you going to Canada or going to the UK. But just put your sense into action. Do you understand? Let everything that you're doing, let your traveling, let your plans to migrate be knowledge, purpose driven, not just opportunity driven. Because the bulk of the people, when I say the bulk, I mean 70% of the people that japa is survivor that is on their mind. Do you understand? It's survivor that is on their mind. 70% of them. I'm so, let me blow his trumpet. I'm so happy that we have Edmond with us.
Oh.
He just got back from the UK like 2 days ago. Yes, 2 days ago. And guess how long he was there for? Basically a week. You can do this life and do it well. You go and charge your phone in Dubai. Then you have breakfast in UK. Then by evening, you come to Nigeria for dinner. Do you understand? I'm not saying, listen, I'm sure if you've been around, you know that I don't have a problem with you traveling. But I'm saying that better ways to go about these things where you can be very productive, highly productive. And that's part of why we are converging and talking about these things. So that's traveling out. You're not thinking about it as an expression to purpose. Providing solutions on a global scale. Do you understand? Alright, my next slide. So, okay, let me just read that, and then I think I said so much about read that. With over 60% of the world's unused arable land located in Africa, there's immense potential for agricultural growth. Countries like Ethiopia and Ghana are investing in modern farming techniques, increased food production. For example, Kenya's tea and coffee exports are highly valued worldwide, and South Africa's vineyards produce excellent wines. Agriculture is a major industry in Africa, employing millions of people. Yes. And then the next is tech and innovation. But then because I know that everyone is going to focus on innovation, I'm going to skip this point. I don't have that much of a time. Renewable energy. Let me talk about this. I need people in this room to start dreaming and start thinking about alternative source of power. For most people, when you talk about alternative source of power, the only thing they think about is mechanical generator. The first time, and this is not too long ago, the first time I heard about, I was discussing with somebody, talking about business and stuff. And he was telling me about a particular person who got some grants and went into solar farming. When I heard solar farming, my brain went like, what do you mean solar farming? See, planting sun and pouring water for the sun to germinate and all that. Amen. And why some of you are laughing at me, I know that you don't know different. So I'm not bothered that you're laughing at me. But then you can learn through my pace, so I'll just explain. But NEPA cannot be the only sustainable source of electricity or power that we have. Do you understand? We have a lot of wind in this part of the country or the continent. We have a lot of sun, particularly in the northern part of this country that we are not using. So basically like that solar farm that I was talking about, which is renewable energy, and it is healthier for the climate. By the time you start looking at some of the SDGs and all that, you realize that renewable energy are viable options for us to explore. And yes, there are people, because of technology, there are people globally who are willing to partner. Now, things. Somebody is providing, willing to part away with money in exchange for such. We realize that there are various opportunities drawn to the same ideas. But then saying this is my city, they're always asking, what's your handle? Right? Is your handle they're asking now, not do you have a demo? Back in the days, if Clemson was looking for a record deal, he would carry his demo to record companies and give producer, hoping that A&R will listen or give it to. Right now, They'll just go online and check on you and check up on you. As it relates to, and not too long ago I've been shouting it in church, there is no technology that is at its finished or perfect state. Gaps. If you look critically, you see the gaps. Am I communicating? I've not first realized that quite a number of our cultural songs, you can't find them on Spotify. If, for example, I'm looking for Egon or Mbula music now, I do not know what page to look for. As much as you guys are laughing, there are people who are abroad able to create a platform that just focuses on providing this particular local content to a global audience. You will be amazed at how much money you'll be making from just providing that solution. First, there are even local artists that are willing or looking for platforms that they can explore, you know, or what's the word now? That they can propagate, no, that's not the right word, but you understand what I mean. That they can take their content, export their content to a global market. Do you understand? How many of us you are?
Alright, thank you so much. Now can we rise to our feet and celebrate Pastor? Remember that I said you can have your seat. I was going to come back here and ask Amen.